Hello everyone, this is Jessica with Black Travelers Network, where we provide trips that focus on the Black experience in different parts of the world, and we cover news stories that happen in different parts of the African diaspora. Before we get into today's story, I want to encourage you to make sure you subscribe to this channel. Our goal is to not only follow the news around the African diaspora, but also to share that news with all of you. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. And today's story is a story of irony. And the irony is in the timing. So this story comes to us by way of Eyewitness News out of South Africa. And the title of the article is South Africa's Listeria Outbreak is Largest on Record. The South African Listeria outbreak that has killed 180 people since January is the largest ever recorded globally, the World Health Organization said on Monday. Quote, yes, this is the largest ever recorded outbreak of this severe form of listeriosis globally, end quote. Peter K. Ben Mbarek, who manages the WHO International Food Safety Authorities Network, told Reuters in an email response. 5 Southern African Development Community countries have announced they are banning processed meat from South Africa. They include Zambia, Namibia, Mozambique, Malawi, and Uganda. In just the last few minutes, Zambia's health ministry has confirmed and extended its recall to include dairy products, fruits and vegetables from South Africa. At least 180 people have died from listeriosis since early last year, with the health ministry tracing the outbreak to enterprise outlets in Polokwane and Germiston. Both parent company Tiger Brand says the contamination isn't linked to any deaths. CEO Lawrence McDougall says despite the outbreak, there are strict controls. Quote, to give you some insight, Enterprise Foods follows stringent protocols for the manufacture of quality food products. This includes monitoring and testing for the detection and management of pathogens, viruses, and bacteria, including Listeria. So the best way that I have been able to describe this story is ironic. And I say ironic because hopefully over the past several weeks you've been following the news that has come out of South Africa regarding what the government wants to do with the land to sort of right the wrong of the original sin, as the newly elected president has often referred to what happened in the past, the history of South Africa regarding the land being taken from the native Black South Africans as the original sin. And it's called the original sin because many of these farms are owned and controlled by Afrikaners. And Afrikaners are people of Dutch lineage. And the Dutch arrived in South Africa in the late 1700s. So much of this farmland has been passed down for generations to generations. Much of the farmland that actually was purchased from someone who didn't have true land ownership. And so as a result of that, you have a situation today where a lot of the profitable land, I think I saw something that says as much as 73% of the profitable farmland belongs to white Afrikaners. So that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is that during the apartheid regime, there were a lot of Black South Africans who lost their land as well. And so this decision to take land from white South Africans and return it to black South Africans is really a decision that's based off of the history. And so everyone kind of knows this land was acquired by people who took it over. They took it over, they sold it to each other, they stole it. You know, it's just, there's no way of sugarcoating it. And so that's why it's called the original sin. I say all that to say that this landmark vote just happened within the last few weeks. And now we can look and see that one of the leading headlines out of the country right now is about a Listeria outbreak. And basically, that's contamination of processed meat. And that has a direct impact on the country's exports, especially when you have neighboring countries banning the import from meat coming in from South Africa. So that affects the country's bottom line when it comes to their exports, which is part of how the country makes its money. And so I find it very ironic. I also find it ironic that if we look at the article also states that this is something that they've been looking into since 2017, trying to figure out if it had any merit. And now all of a sudden they find it has a lot of merit, and it's making other countries nervous, and they're saying, no, we don't want to import meat from South Africa. Not only do we not want to import meat, we don't want to import any of the fruits and veggies as well. So it's just very ironic. But I will ask you what you think. Do you think the timing of this Listeria outbreak has anything to do with the vote that just happened a few weeks ago? Or is this completely separate? Is it just something that happened and we should look at it as something isolated and not necessarily connected? Because what is very clear is that you have a lot of angry white farmers in South Africa who have had land for, some of them for life, for their entire life, because it was passed down from their fathers, their fathers' fathers, their ancestors. And so a lot of these folks are really upset. And, you know, it's understandable why someone would feel like the rug has just been yanked out from under you and you had absolutely nothing to do with it. But you definitely reap the benefits of it. And so if you have not tuned into that story, if you have not been following that story, I encourage you to once again subscribe to the channel, go back and take a listen to some of the previous videos we've done on this particular topic, and make sure you leave a comment below. Love to hear what you guys think, and thank you for listening.